Good evening, everyone. I'll call the City Council to order at 8 o'clock on Monday evening, April 8th, 2024. This meeting is being recorded. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have 18 items on this evening's agenda, and I will ask the clerk to please read agenda item number 1.
Minutes of the City Council meeting, March 25th, 2024.
Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and place on file the minutes.
Motion's made and seconded to accept and place on file the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are filed, 11-0. Agenda item number 2.
Communication from Councilors Ossing and Navin regarding municipal aggregation, March 2024 update.
Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think people at home will be excited to know that Marlborough's residential electricity users participating in the aggregation program have saved over $1.6 million in the fourth quarter of 2023. The Inspire contract has saved Marlborough residential electricity users participating in the program $19.8 million since its inception in November of 2019. This program has saved all users over $34 million since it began in 2007. Participants in the program were notified in December that the City of Marlborough has entered into a new energy supplier contract with First Point Power. That said, you'll notice that the rates have gone up, but that is not to say that we are not continuing to save money on this new contract. The rates have gone up because it's a new contract, and the basic winter rate for the utilities has gone up considerably. So this new contract, which began in February, will have a rate of 14.15 cents per kilowatt hour, and that will last for 22 months. The winter rate for National Grid during this time period is 18.213 cents per kilowatt hour. I should note, I know it is always much discussion, that this includes that all of this energy is 100% National Wind renewable energy credits. I should also note that the contract that the City of Marlborough has entered into is lower than many of our fellow municipalities, including the City of Boston. Our rate, which is 100% renewable energy, is lower than the basic municipal aggregation rate that the City of Boston, that residential users in the City of Boston will pay. So that is something that people can be very happy to hear. So we continue to save money, and we look forward to next quarter's report. With that, motion to accept and place on file.
Motion's made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication from Councilors Ossing and Navin. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The communication is filed, 11-0. Agenda item number 3.
Communication from the Mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $762,465 from Economic Development to MEDC funding for the fiscal year 2025 operating budget of MEDC, and a transfer request in the amount of $150,000 from Economic Development to MEDC funding for the Economic Development Toolbox.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion's made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's going to Finance, 11-0. Agenda item number 4.
Communication from the Mayor regarding a gift acceptance in the amount of $250,000 from the Marlborough Public Library Foundation awarded to the Marlborough Public Library to be used for the library renovation project.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve the gift, and thank you to the Marlborough Library Foundation for this generous gift, and we're very happy to see these gifts going forward. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Motion made and seconded to approve the gift from the Marlborough Public Library Foundation to the Marlborough Public Library project. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The gift is approved, 11-0. Agenda item number 5.
Communication from the Mayor regarding proposed ordinance amendments to the Code of the City of Marlborough, Chapter 125, Personnel, Section 5, Preparation of Classification Descriptions, and to Chapter 125, Personnel, Section 6, Salary Schedule, relative to the position of drop-off attendant and junior civil engineer within the Department of Public Works.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee and to advertise.
Motion's made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee and to advertise. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's going to Finance and advertise, 11-0. Agenda item number 6.
Communication from the Mayor regarding acceptance of deed in lieu of foreclosure concerning parcels of land located off Mosher Lane, identified as map 10, parcel 41, map 10, parcel 82, map 11, parcels 3 and 40.
Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to send to the Legal and Legislative Committee, the Legal Department, and the Engineering Department.
Motion's made and second to refer to the Legislative and Legal Committee, the Legal Department, and to Engineering. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's going to L&L, the Legal Department, and Engineering with an 11-0 vote. Agenda item number 7.
Communication from the mayor regarding proposed acceptance of easement for a small portion of land at the corner of Hayes Memorial Drive and Boston Post Road West, Route 20, from the property owners of 1000 Nickerson Road for a Welcome to Marlborough sign.
Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to send to Legal and Legislative Committee.
Motion made and seconded to send to the Legal and Legislative Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's going to L&L, 11-0. Agenda item number 8.
Communication from the mayor regarding notification of extension of temporary appointment pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 61A of David Williams as interim comptroller treasurer for an additional 60-day term to expire June 1st, 2024.
Councilor Nabin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's filed 11-0. Agenda item number 9.
Communication from the mayor regarding notification of temporary appointment pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 61A of David Williams as interim city collector effective April 1st, 2024 for a 60-day term to expire May 31st, 2024.
Councilor Nabin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is filed 11-0. Agenda item number 10.
Communication from Assistant City Solicitor Jeremy McManus on behalf of Councilor Roby regarding proposed zoning ordinance amendments to Chapter 650 zoning relative to updating provisions regarding medical and adult use marijuana.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. For those councilors who were here at the previous administration, you may remember an order coming down from then Mayor Vigent regarding marijuana. Because I knew that there were some new changes that were going to be proposed by the Cannabis Commission. It sort of sat there and never was taken up, so it got lost in the shuffle. But because there were some final changes that were approved by the CCC recently, I felt it was important to update our zoning ordinance. So I've worked with the legal department to get this in proper form. I would move to refer this to Urban Affairs and to the Planning Board to set a public hearing for May 5th.
Motion made and seconded to set the public hearing for May 6th. We'll refer it to Urban Affairs, the Planning Board, and to advertise. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's going to have a public hearing on May 6th, going to Urban Affairs, the Planning Board, and to advertise, 11-0. Agenda item number 11.
Communication from Attorney William Bruin on behalf of Robert Ledoux regarding request a release of a low-income deed restriction on the unit at 66 Village Drive.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to refer to Urban Affairs.
Motion's made and seconded to refer to the Urban Affairs Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's going to Urban Affairs, 11-0. Agenda item number 12.
Petition of Mass Electric and Verizon New England to install one joint-owned pole on Cimarano Drive beginning at a point approximately 246 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of Cedar Hill Street. Install 50 feet of C1.2 midspan between pole 1 and 2 and install feeder monitor on the new midspan.
Councilor Landers.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to schedule a date for a public hearing.
Motion made and seconded to schedule a public hearing for the petition, and we'll schedule that public hearing for April 2nd. Motion made and seconded to schedule a public hearing. What's that?
22nd.
20, what did I say?
Second.
Second? Oh, 22nd. Motion made and seconded for the public hearing to be set for April 22nd. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? We'll set a public hearing for April 22nd. Vote is 11-0. Agenda item 13.
Petition of Mass Electric and Verizon New England to install one joint-owned pole on Cashman Street beginning at a point approximately 100 feet southeast of the center line of the intersection of Lincoln Street, installing new pole P-5 on Cashman Street to serve a customer at 272 Lincoln Street.
Councilor Landers.
Again, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to schedule a date for a public hearing.
We'll take that motion. We will set the public hearing for April 22nd as well. So motion to set the public hearing for April 22nd. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? We'll set that public hearing for April 22nd. Vote is 11-0. Agenda item 14.
Minutes of boards, commissions, and committees.
Mr. President.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file the minutes of the boards, commissions, and committees.
Motion is made and seconded. Accept and place on file all the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are filed, 11-0. Agenda item 15.
Claims.
Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to send the claims to legal department.
Motion made and seconded to send the claims to the legal department. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The claims are going to legal, 11-0. Reports of committees. Who wants to go first? Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Committee met on April 1st, 2024. Meeting convened at 7 p.m. We had 2 items on the agenda that evening. First item was order number 24-100-9118, communication from Mayor Dumas, together with a transfer in the amount of $477,122.41 from PEG funds to Marlborough Cable Trust to fund the capital items and the operation of WMCT-TV for FY 2025. Chair read the communication from Mayor Dumas. Director Maliar discussed his proposed budget with councilors. Councilors were unanimously supportive of his request. On a motion by Councilor Facillo, seconded by Chair Irish, the Finance Committee recommended approval of the transfer in the amount of $477,122.41 from PEG funds to the Marlborough Cable Trust to fund the capital items and the operation of WMCT-TV for FY 2025. A vote carried 5-0. Next item was order number 24-100-9119, communication from Mayor Dumas, together with a transfer in the amount of $34,020 from reserve for salaries to the HR director to cover the accruals incurred and to replenish the account. The chair read the communication from Mayor Dumas. The mayor submitted the funds were necessary to replenish the HR director account and to fund the negotiated separation agreement between the city and Mr. Harmon and his payout for unused sick and vacation time. Finance Committee voting members Oram and Vidal spoke in support of the transfer. Councilor Facillo asked the mayor if he had any considerations using funds from the conference and training account to backfill any of the shortfall, to which the mayor replied that instead of piecemealing the transfer from multiple accounts, it was decided to transfer the entire amount from reserve for salaries. On a motion by Councilor Vidal, seconded by Chair Irish, Finance Committee recommended approval of the transfer in the amount of $34,020 from reserve for salaries to the HR director to cover the accruals incurred and to replenish the account. The vote carried 5-0. Meeting adjourned at 7:30 p.m. Mr. President, that's the end of my report, but I will be asking for a suspension this evening. After communicating with the mayor, I thought it would be best to have a suspension for order number 24-100-9119, please.
Been a motion made and seconded to suspend the rules for order number 24-100-9119, which is a transfer for the HR director. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? Suspension carries 11-0. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee to approve the transfer request, please.
Motion made and seconded to move the recommendation of the committee to approve the transfer. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Transfer carries 11-0. Any other reports of committees? Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Personnel Committee met earlier this evening. We convened at 7:25 in the chamber. Voting members present, myself, Councilors Brown and Doucette. Non-voting members, Councilor Landers, Fucillo, Councilors Vidal and Irish arrived at 7:30. Councilor Oram at 7:34. Also present, Mayor Dumas and Lee Thompson. We had one item on the agenda. It was order number 24-100-9120, communication from Mayor Dumas, for the City Council approval for the appointment of Carl Blatchley to the Fort Meadow Commission for a 3-year term. Mr. Blatchley will replace Lee Thompson, who has served on the commission since 1980. Read the letter from the mayor into the record, and then Mr. Blatchley read a prepared statement asking those present to recognize Mr. Thompson for his years of service. He answered questions from the councilors. Councilor Oram spoke in support of his appointment, as did Councilor Landers. On a motion by Councilor Doucette, seconded by the chair, the Personnel Committee recommends the approval of the appointment of Carl Blatchley to the Fort Meadow Commission for a 3-year term, replacing longtime member Lee Thompson. The vote was 3-0. I've spoken with the clerk, and this appointment will be effective on May 1st. Motion was made and seconded to adjourn, and we adjourned at 7:38. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Navin. Any other reports of committees? Seeing none. Agenda item 16.
Order number 24-100-9106, transfer request in the amount of $786,500 from free cash to fire equipment for the purchase of an E1 fire engine for the fire department. Recommendation of the Finance Committee is to approve.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee to approve the transfer request, please.
Motion made and seconded to approve the transfer for a new fire truck. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? The transfer for $756,500 from free cash for a new fire truck is approved by a vote of 11-0. Agenda item number 17.
Order number 23-100-8861A, Vision for Donald Lynch Boulevard, document which includes a proposed zoning ordinance amendment to Chapter 650 zoning to create the Donald Lynch Boulevard Overlay District. The recommendation of the Urban Affairs Committee, is to file.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee, which is to file, and we await the formal action item on a future agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rowe. Motion made and seconded to file the report from the Urban Affairs Committee on Donald Lynch Boulevard. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? It is filed 11-0. Agenda item number 18.
Order number 24-100-9097A, proposed salary ordinance amendment to increase the hours of the senior assessor from 35 hours to 40 hours per week, and a transfer request in the amount of $3,653 from reserve for salaries to senior assessor to cover the salary proposed increase for the remainder of fiscal year 24. First reading suspended, second reading adopted, does not carry. President Ossing declared a hand vote count of 7 councilors in favor. Councilor Navin moved for reconsideration, which was approved. Council President declared a hand vote count of 7 councilors in favor. This item was set to appear on this evening's agenda.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee to approve the salary increase and to approve the transfer request, please.
Motion made and seconded to approve the salary ordinance, which is the hour increase, and the transfer, so we'll take up the salary ordinance first. Any discussion on the salary ordinance? Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. In finance, I did not support this. I was in opposition. I still believe maybe we were focusing on going from 35 to 40 hours. Lost track of actually as well is that this also increases this particular department's increase in the pay. And I just don't believe at this time spending $98,000 a year for this position gives any value to the city or that particular department, and that's why I was in opposition. But surely any time looking at pay increases, succession planning, I'm usually all in at this particular time. I just don't think it's in the best interest of the city. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Irish. Anyone else? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm voting in favor of this. I think that the transfer request, basically, you're going from 35 to 40 hours. The clerk office also does consulting services. And what was covered as part of this is that, the more hours used, that we would spend it by an employee would be less consulting services out of a different bucket. So I don't necessarily consider this to be a net expense. I actually consider this to be a net savings because, by doing less consulting, we'll be using the staff in hand. So I didn't say anything in the last one because I thought it was going to be close, but it was going to pass. But I figured it's important to at least for me to say that on this one because I think this is important. If I can sway a couple more votes in favor of this, I think it would be important to get this thing through. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Anyone else? Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had voted against this at the last meeting, and I continue to not support it based on just continuing to feel that it would set a poor precedence. And to me, it's an inequitable move when we could just be looking at the whole picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Anyone else? Hearing none, I will, again, this is an ordinance change. We got to go through the 4 stages. So, all those in favor of suspending the first reading and approving the second, please signify. Let's stand up so we can make it easy so I don't have to guess and they say who voted, who didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It does not carry. The ordinance does not pass. This item is no longer in the hands of the council.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
just, was your vote yes or no?
7-4. It was a 7-4 vote.
Oh, okay, so you were in favor?
Yep.
Okay,
So
thank you, Mr. President.
7-4.
I thought you might have been 8. Okay, thank you.
No, that's so 7-4 is the vote. The ordinance does not pass. Council Navin.
Move to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:20. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.